Please tell me, is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am, the slides are visible now.
Thank you. So the topic is about design thinking, how design thinking is evolving nowadays, and how it is important for the teachers and faculty members and the complete education fraternity, for whosoever is teaching in higher education as well as the teaching in the schools as well. So we will try to cover all the aspects of design thinking, what are the phases of design thinking, and how we can evaluate our teaching processes and methodologies during this curriculum design, as well as how to implement these methodologies in our education field. So the first thing is, let's discuss about the agendas. In agendas, we will discuss about majorly the 5 agendas. Number 1 is introduction to the concept. The second is conceptualizing teaching as design thinking. And third are the phases of design thinking. Then we will discuss about the principles of design thinking and how we can implement these phases in higher education teaching. So in the last, we will conclude, and rest of the things we will discuss in the question answer form. First thing is conceptualizing teaching as design thinking. So design is a routine part of teaching, but relatively neglected in higher education as compared to the performative aspects. Even from the earlier phases, from very beginning of our teaching processes, we have already implemented design, but now it is considered as a mandatory thing to include in our teaching processes. But we can improve design as flow on benefits for our learners. Various design aspects we can include in our methodologies. It is increasingly important to meet the challenges of contemporary higher education. Higher education institutions must adapt the concepts of design thinking in teaching learning processes. Each and every curriculum design must include the concepts of design thinking, and how we can include these steps we'll discuss later. Now, next thing is just how we can design our teaching in this particular aspect. Nowadays, we have already learned about agile development methodologies. The very first step of agile development methodology is design thinking, where design thinking includes the human interaction as well as the perspective from which we can facilitate more as compared to the earlier systems. The first thing is accelerating the technological change. Nowadays, we can accept that the technological changes we are seeking in each and every area, be it our education, be it implementation of the concepts in education, be it in the other perspective, evaluations, in every aspect we can see the increase in technological aspects. And second is intensification of pressure of teaching staff. Nowadays, be it accreditation processes or other works, or we can always think about how to improve the marks of the students, or the performances should be there, or even outcome based education are also involved into our teaching processes. So the intensification of pressure on teaching staff is very much nowadays. Teachers need to need to prepare about their whereabouts, each and everything about their students. Mentor-mentee programs are also there. So a lot of things are there about which we need to understand. Even project based outcome learning is also there. So in higher education institution, teachers need to do a lot of work apart from teaching. If these all things are correlated in such a manner that we can reduce the pressure on teachers as well. The third thing is rising expectation about graduate capabilities. So as our graduates move on to the industry, the expectations from the learning of the whole learning process, as well as from the graduates, are nowadays also increasing. Industry also think about that graduates must learn the basic needs and basic understanding about the concept from their graduation level itself. So teachers need to implement that in their graduation curriculum also. And the last thing is diversifying students need and expectations. So a lot and lot more branches are there, lot more fields are there, and students need to diversify their learning, as well as diversify their fusion of different technologies as well. So all the teachers and faculty members of higher education institutions need to think about and need to implement these phases into this thing. Now let us discuss about the phases of design thinking. All these phases play a very important role in the teaching methodologies. First thing is empathize, where we have more human interaction exist. And second is the define. Third is ideate. Fourth is the prototype. And last is the test. The first two phases collaborate and combine to more closely related to the understanding perspective. The second and third phase combine and collaborate to explore. The third, fourth, and fifth are combined to materialize the concepts. Now let's first discuss about the very first phase, that is empathize. Empathize addresses the divergent style of thinking. It includes the understanding of interest, challenges, and motivation of students, users, and stakeholders. We should include the parents, the internship organizations, the industry, as well as the management and all the employees of the organization as the stakeholders. Now, if we understand the interest of each and every stakeholders, considering their challenges and understanding the motivation of students also, then we will closely look on the empathize part of, or empathize phase of design thinking, right? So each and every faculty member of higher education institution must empathize with their student, must empathize with their parents, students parents, and must empathize with the management perspective also. So human interaction as well as human understanding should include in this first phase of design thinking. Now the second phase is define, where we synthesize the data, where we include the observations and research, etc., to clearly state the problem and the challenges also. It addresses the convergent style of thinking to manage the overall processes and purposes. Define includes the collected data from the empathize phase, and we synthesize that data. We create the observation, how much our students are. The feedback form is also somewhat like these phases. In feedback form, we define how students are interacting with the faculty member, how they are understanding the concept, how they are feeling pleasant in the class of a faculty member, and how research can be generated from these concepts. So overall process of define means whatever you have collected from the empathize phase, now we will uh, uh, create it on a black and white sheet or hard copy of a sheet, and we will understand how we can conceptualize these things. And now next phase is ideate phase. Ideate phase includes the development of components and concepts to address the problem or a challenge. Now we have understood that in define phase, we have collected each and every data in on paper and understood how much students are happy with the learning processes, how students are understanding the concepts, and even how they are happy to face the challenges. Now we are going to analyze these things and ideate that what changes need to be done, right? So how we can change the teaching learning methodology, how we can conceptualize the thing, how practically we can implement the concepts so that students can understand it more clearly, right? So the ideate phase is to be able to cover more possibilities and accept maximum ideation. These ideation we can acquire from the management perspective also. We can change the traditional methodologies we are acquiring, and even we can conceptualize the things more clearly before implementing it onto the next semester. And now next phase is the prototype phase. Whatever we have ideate, whatever changes we have uh, proposed in the previous phases, now we can create a prototype of that, and even we can implement these prototype into a pilot research phases also. This is also called a pilot research, in which a small set of students as well as a small set of faculty members can be taken to implement the ideate phase. Whatever we have, whatever models we have created in ideate phase, we can implement it using the pilot research, right? So creating a model, drafts and pilots, etc., to transition ideas to applications. Before starting off a semester, we can create a small set of students as well as faculty members to ideate the models already developed in the previous phases, and this is called the prototype. If students are happy with the changed model, as well as the faculty members are also satisfied with the changed model, we can implement it in the new semester. So prototypes are useful for user testing, ideal for quick internal use, and client feedback also. Here client means the students, the stakeholders, the faculty members, the parents also, the internship organizations, and the placement organizations, placement companies as well. So each and every stakeholders must be happy with the prototype or the new models generated, and we should understand how we can ideate or make the changes to these models also. And the next phase is the testing phase. In testing phase, we observe the prototype in action, gathering feedbacks to refine the product or the program, etc. Now, testing phase is the immediate semester in which we are implementing the prototype model, right? So, prototypes are already implemented and created before the semester, and in testing phase we are implementing it in actual, and we will understand and we will create and gather the feedback, and uh, how much refinement is necessary we will note down. right? So how these phases are implemented in higher education institution is uh, of the most important thing to consider. Now let's consider about the principles of design thinking. Design thinking can be applied to any field. It does not necessarily have to be design specific. Any field, any concept or anything, even in the human relationship also, design thinking can be implemented. So, as the famous designer Camaro says, people ignore designs that ignores people. So, the involvement of people, the understanding of people's perspective, the understanding of stakeholders' perspective is the utmost important. So, human centric methodology should be used and approach should be used. So, it is the both in ideology and processes, and it is extremely user centric. It revolves around the deep interest in developing the understanding of the people for whom we are designing the product or services. It helps us to observe and develop the empathy with the user. Now, next thing is in the principles of design thinking, we have four different principles. First is it should be human centric. It should embrace the ambiguity found in the implementation. We should always ready to redesign the processes again and again, and tangibility should be there in design thinking processes. So let's go more deeper into the principles of design thinking. First thing is human centric point of view. User centric design means understanding what your user need, how they think, how they behave, and incorporating that understanding of user need to into every aspect of your processes. Your user are students as well as the faculty members who are adopting these concepts or designs or models, and the parents who are looking after the whole processes through the results of the students. So more and more human centric approach should be there. We should think from their perspective, how they are understanding and what models we should implement, and even the practical implementation of each concept should be included in higher education institution. And second is embracing the ambiguity. As we know that ambiguity is inevitable, so, experimenting at the limit of your knowledge and ability is crucial in being able to see things differently. Every member's perspective should be considered in this. It is about looking at multiple ways to solve a problem. Some of the ideas might not work, but some other ideas can bring the fantastic solutions. So, considering everyone's perspective and even considering the other way around to solve a particular problem is embracing the ambiguity. And next principle is redesign. All design is redesign. So there is a scope of change in each and every design, and it may look more fantastic as an outcome of redesigning. When technology and social circumstances may change and evolve, basic human needs remain unchanged. We essentially only redesign the means of fulfilling these needs or reaching the desired outcome. And the last principle is tangibility. Tangibility includes the effective communication by any faculty member, right? So, after gathering the ideas, one shall start experimentation or building prototypes. Experimentation or building prototypes helps to realize which ideas work and which one don't. Hypothesizing and testing will determine what changes will lead an easier and frictionless or more intuitive path. So each and every aspect of effective communication, be it communication with the management, be it communication with the industry personals, or communication with the students while teaching, or communication with the queries of parents, the tangibility inside the implementation of redesigned model is the most important principle of design thinking. Now let's consider the methods of design thinking in higher education. Various methods are there in design thinking that can help higher education institution faculty members to improve and adapt new teaching pedagogy. Some of these are rose, thorn, and bud method, interviewing method, observation method, importance effort matrix, concept mapping, morphological charts, creative metrics, and thinking hats method. All these methods can be included to more conceptualize the behavior of students, to understand the requirement of students, and even we can see how students are interested to learn a particular concept. So let's look on the various concepts and relate it with the phases of design thinking. First thing is implementing empathy. How interviewing can be helpful in implementing empathy. Interviewing is a strategy to gather information through direct communication. If a faculty member or a teacher in higher education feel that some part of student or some group of students are not at all interested in learning the concepts, you can collect them, or you can interview them or ask them individually or in group also. It can be done face to face or virtually, usually done one by one. So one to one interaction and human centric approach should be done in interviewing a person. It should be used to gather information and build empathy. It increases the credibility with students and stakeholders. It includes a challenge, assumptions, and perceptions. Here in interview, flexibility is based on interviewee's need. Whatever the faculty members understand, whatever the faculty members want to ask to a student, the interview questions should be based on that only. And one-to-one interaction and thinking about and understanding the perspective of student should also be considered while taking notes of interviews. Student faculty members should change the methodology they are using. Faculty members should understand the process also, and they should create a new model of teaching after this interviewing process. So process should be identifying what you are trying to get and set the goals of interview. Second is develop specific and open-ended questions. The open-ended questions always be helpful for understanding the perspective of student. Establish the criteria for selecting participant for interview. Select the place of interview. It should be isolated, neutral, safe, and unrushed. There should not be any disturbance, or there should not be any uh, crowd-centric place uh, at the time of interview. And last one is introduce yourself. Begin with easy questions and listen carefully. Take notes and thank the participant also. The interviewing process always help the faculty members to understand the teachers, the students' perspective, and student it also helps the student to understand the perspective of faculty member. Now let's implement the empathy with the observation model. Observation process is based on the fact that what people say, what people do, and what they say they do are entirely different things. Observation should be done silently on the back, and we observe what students say and what they actually do. Intentionally using your senses to learn about what students do during the sessions while they study, they implement, and play or perform during the events. It is a fly on the wall contextual inquiry and immersive. For example, in the interview process, I have asked a student about some particular concept or why they are not interested to learn a particular concept. Now, faculty members in the observation process can understand what should be the exact reason of not understanding the concept or not willing to understand the concept. This is about building the understanding of the context of the problem and empathy for the people or student involved. Most often involves going to the situation. Depending upon the situation, observation may change, but we can relate the interviewing outcome with the observation outcome. What are the ways of observation criteria? First is fly on the wall, second is contextual inquiry, and third is the immersive research. In the first method, observers are back away and observe the class they are observing. In the contextual inquiry, observers stay side by side to the person they are observing. They can even question about what they say. And in third, immersive research, the observer is actively following what the person is doing and doing what the person is doing, right? So following whatever the person is doing is also a part of immersive research, and even establish the criteria for selecting participants of interview. Now next thing is implementing the design of this define phase of design thinking. Here we have importance effort metrics method. It helps teams to identify and prioritize the projects and ideas. Importance effort metrics helps the student also to understand the priorities of their tasks. It is primarily used in define phase of design thinking. This step is to explore all ideas and decide what idea to implement first. The metrics enable the participant to pick and select the outcome of process and convert it in the actionable steps. This is the importance effort matrix. Here we can see the chart or the plane is divided into 4 quadrants. First quadrant is the low hanging fruits where we have a lot of ideas, but the effort is minimum and the impact is more. Uh, it is less as compared to the high ROI. In the second quadrant, we have done a lot of effort, but still the impact has come. This is called luxury. Third quadrant says strategic, where the impact is also more and effort is more. And the last is high ROI, that is return of investment, where impact is more and effort is less. So this should be the focus of each and every model where we should get the high ROI, that is the high return of investment, where in the less efforts we can get the maximum importance or the impact of the implemented model. And next is concept mapping in the define phase of design thinking. In the concept mapping, it leads to better understanding how individuals define the concept. It is a process of creating the detailed visualization of all elements of larger concepts, phase, and or term. The purpose is to visualize the relationship between elements of the larger concept. There are many ways to create the concept maps. The teacher can team up with the student to create a concept map or can create by its own also. These concept maps should be presented in the classroom and implement it during the teaching learning system. We have the four basic concepts of or steps of concept mapping. In the step one, on your own, write down all the ideas, terms, and experiences, etc., that come into your mind when you think of the concept. It will also help the student to understand and relate the concept with some storyline. Write down it all in the sticky notes. In step two, post and share all the sticky notes among the students after eliminating the duplicates. Suppose we have 30 strength of a class and we can create a concept map and place the sticky notes on the basis of outcome students give about that concept. And step 3, begin to organize the concept you posted according to the flow chart or hierarchy, etc. And step 4 says, draw a line between related concepts and discuss with the student. So these concept maps always help a student to relate different concepts and even prioritize the concept, which concept it should learn first and what the priority should be given to the concepts. And we can also relate that all 30 students understand the concept in the same pattern, and whosoever or the students who are not understanding or not learning the concept as well, they can also relate the concept with the different types of ideas. And third thing is the third phase is the ideate solution. We can create morphological charts to ideate the solutions. So morphological charts is a brainstorming method that generates a new concept by connecting different variables. For example, we can generate a new concept by relating different technological concepts or different already existing concept and generate a new one. It is more closer to it is more close to the research perspective. Students can create the research papers on it. They can propose new patents on it. So it is a brainstorming method, and students can generate an interest on the already existing concepts. In this process, we have 4 steps. First is start with a simple 3 to 5 table. Give column name with the functions or needs. Step 2 means it contains all the ideas of to each column. Connect ideas together to form a new concept and look on the other combinations to create the additional concept. All the faculty members who are now present in this faculty development program must understand that nowadays we have a fusion of different technologies present. So we can correlate the embedded system with IoT, with the computer science also. We can correlate different fields, whatever we have learned in the mechanical engineering, and we can correlate it with the computer science programs and models, etc. All artificial intelligence models can be correlated with the blockchain concepts also. So all these things, even data science and AI can be merged together. So all these ideas can create and merge together and can generate new ideas, and a research outcome can be done on the basis of morphological charts. So this in this morphological chart, we can see we have divided the table into four parts, where we have variable number 1, variable 2, 3, and 4. These variables can be streams, these variables can be concepts, these variables can be anything from our subjects. And on the basis of subject, that we can relate with the very second column variable, and we can further relate it with the third column variable, and we can further relate into the fourth column variable and generate a new ideas as well. And now next is the prototype phase of design thinking. The concept poster and pitches can be done as a method in prototyping the idea. Prototyping, the concept poster and pitches is a strategy for presenting the key points of a new idea. The concept poster is used to visually illustrate these key points, and concept pitch is audibly convey these key points to the gathering or to the classes or to the meetings. Often they can work together to share the prototype of an idea to in order to generate or to gain support to move forward. Uh, Concept posters process include 5 steps. First is identify your idea. Second is assemble your team. Third is to determine the key elements of your idea and way to include them. And fourth is draft the layout. And fifth is draw the final poster. This is the concept poster. I think you are able to see it. In the first row, the title or the name of concept is there, and rest of the columns are included as per the ideas taken from the team members. And the concept pitches process includes 4 steps. Identify your ideas, whatever we have already identified in the poster concept. Understand your audience. Fill in the gaps not easily grasped by your poster. Whatever left to define in the poster, we can audibly convey that message, and define why this is a concept worthy for further development, and keep it in brief. So last phase is implementing the testing. First, more important, or we should say the most important concept is rose, thorn, and bud method. That is a human centric approach. So here you can see we have started from the very first phase, that is empathy, which is also a human centric approach. And in the last phase also, during the testing, we are implementing the human centric approach. So rose, thorn, and bud method is useful for taking feedback from students, clients, or users while implementing the empathy for design thinking. It is a balanced and anonymous way to reflect on an experience, idea, or product or service. The process says we should have a pink sticky, a blue sticky, and a green sticky. Pink sticky means the rose, blue sticky means the thorns, and green sticky means the buds. In rose, we should note down the positives, the strengths, and the successes of the models implemented. And the blue sticky or the thorns, the negatives, the weaknesses, and the challenges should include. And in the green stickies or buds, the opportunities, potentials, and area of growth can be considered. Remember, the feedback should be kind, specific, and helpful. We should not interrupt the participant who are giving the feedback. We should be very kind and empathetic towards understanding their perspective, and we and they both should be specific and help. So these are the rose, bud, and thorn method. First step is reflect your experience you have had, or product idea or service you have engaged with. The second step says write each rose, thorn, and or bud on individual stickies using a marker. And step 3, place each sticky near or on information being presented. This always should uh, this is always helpful to understand the participants as well as the students, to understand the importance of concept as well as how these models are implemented in their teaching learning methodologies. So now we are going to conclude this. The design thinking is an extension of innovation that allows you to design solutions for end users, that are students in our case, with a single problem statement in mind. It is not only just a minute. It is not only imparts valuable skills but can help advance your career. It it's also a collaborative endeavor that can be mastered through the practice with peers. The learning outcome of this lecture is to closely map all the phases of design thinking with the teaching learning pedagogy of higher education institutions. The various methods mentioned in this lecture are, when incorporated into teaching methodology, will add value to the learning process. The faculty members should maintain a human centric approach for teaching, defining the real world problems to learners, ideate the prototypes, and test the success of adopted method. So, this is all about from my side. If you have any questions, you can ask, please.